Hello, my dear students and the rest of the learners. Welcome to part 34 of Effort 1 past series of tutorials in Fundamentals of Object-Oriented Programming in Java. In this tutorial, we are going to be looking at what we call the Java class methods. My name is Nemeti M, or you can simply call me Emily Swap. What is a method? A method is a subroutine or a function with a special property that it has access to data stored in an object, that is instance, and is thereby able to control the state of the object. A method is thus said to be the set of actions that can be performed by an object. The methods are therefore functions of a class. The member functions are the functions for processing data members of a class. Therefore, the actions or methods on an object are closely associated with the object. The class methods or modifiers, or what we call the access methods or modifiers that can be used with methods, and its attributes include the final. The final is an attribute which indicates that the content is specified, or the attributes and methods that it presents cannot be overridden or modified. The next one is static. It indicates that the attributes and methods belong to the class rather than object. The next is abstract. It indicates that the methods or the attributes or the methods can only be used in an abstract class and can only be used on methods. The method does not have a body. For example, abstract void run. The body is provided by the subclass. That is, it is an inherited class. We also have transient. Transient indicates that the attributes and methods are skipped when serializing the object containing them. We have synchronized. It indicates that the methods can only be accessed by one thread at a time. Volatile. Volatile indicates that the value of an attribute is not cached thread, that is locally, and is always read from the main memory. And therefore, my dear students and the rest of the learners, it is important to note that the syntax for creating a method for a certain class is as follows. So just as you have seen in the definition for the results method, you have seen that a results method prints the person's name, the CAT score, exam score, and the total marks attained. That is the action when it is scored. In other words, my dear students and the rest of the learners, here we are simply saying that when you define a method, the definition for that method can contain various attributes. A method can be able to access the data members if those data members are within the class in which the method has been defined. So some of the attributes that you can have include name, CAT, score, exam. Just as we have seen, or as we saw in the previous presentation, that is in part 33. To call a method or invoke a method, you write the following syntax inside the main after creating the classes object as follows. In other words, my dear students and the rest of the learners, you cannot invoke a method if you have not already defined that method. If you want to invoke or access the contents of a class, the data members of a class, It simply means that you must define that class first before you declare an object to manipulate it. So there is a procedure on the way you access various elements or items from a class. So the syntax for invoking a method through a class's object is as follows. The class object name dot method's name. For example, to call the method record results in the previous program that we looked at, or the program we are going to look at in this presentation, you can do it as follows. So the name of the class is edit class. So if you have a class called edit class, for you to be able to access or manipulate the members of that class, you have to define an object for it. So the syntax for declaring an object for class, an object for a class called edit class is edit class results object equals to new edit class. So here we have a syntax error, which we can correct. Now this is not supposed to be performance, but it is supposed to be edit class. So what I'm going to do, so that my dear students and the rest of the learners, you can also know how to make corrections in your code, I'm going to correct my program just now. So it's supposed to read declaring object for class edit class. For class edit class. So this bit here is supposed to be edit class. That's it. So that's how you declare an object for a class. So declaring object for class edit class. Next, to invoke details entry method from the class, or to invoke a method called results from the class called edit class, whose object is called results object, we do it as follows. Results object dot, that is the object's name, the class's object name, dot, the method that you want to invoke or access. So if you have a class called edit class, whose object is result object, and that the class has a member who is a method called results, then you can invoke that method from the class through that class's object as, for example, results object dot results. So the method created can either have static or public attributes and methods. When you create a static attribute or a method, it simply means that it can be accessed without creating an object of the class, unlike public, which can only be accessed by objects. The static methods can be called without creating objects, and its syntax is usually as follows. We have static, then the return type for the method, followed by the method name. Then we have the definition. You define it. That is the body. For example, you can have a method called results. Remember, if you are defining a method beginning or being preceded by the word static, it simply means, as I have said, that you can access that method directly from your program without passing through the object for that class in which the method has been defined. So if your method, for example, called results, and you want to access it directly, you use the word static, then void results. Void simply means that this method is not expected to return any value to any other member or any other method. And then you define your body or your method. So you can also define it as public. So if you define it as a public method, it simply means that it must or you must create an object for it. If you create a method as public, you must call it by creating an object. The syntax for public method is usually as follows. It is public being followed by the return type for that method if it is returning any value, or void if it's not returning any value, then method name. And from there, you define the body for your method. For example, you can have a method called results, which is public and it's of type void, and then you define it. So the following is a sample program demonstrating the differences between static and the public methods to compute the student marks and display them on the screen. So we have the comments for our program as program implementing static, implementing static and public methods. In other words, my dear students and the rest of the learners, in this example, I would like you to see the difference in the way we manipulate or handle static methods and public methods. So the name of our project or our package is static public method. Then we have import java.atil.scanner. Then the name of our public method. So public class, static public method. And then we define it as follows. We have some attributes that cannot be changed, which are cat, total, exam. Why can't they be changed? They cannot be changed because we are declaring or we are defining our class called the public method as static. That's why you cannot change the values in any of these data members. We also have a data member called name of type string. Then method with public attributes. So this is a method. Now this method is called results. It is of type void, meaning it will not return or it's not expected to return any value to any other method. And then, of course, we define or we declare an object for handling our input, which is scan. Then we prompt the user for the name of the student. We read that name and store it in the member called name. Then we display the message or we ask, what mark did whoever you have entered score in CAT? So if, for example, when you have been asked what is the name of this student, you have said Julius Meme, Julius Meme will be stored in the data member called name. So in this statement, it will be displayed as what mark did Julius Meme score in CAT. Then you enter the score. That score will be read and it will be assigned in the data member called CAT. The next statement is what mark did Julius Meme score in exam? So you key in a value and it is assigned in the data member called exam. From there, the translator or the compiler or the processor will pick the content or the value in the data member called CAT, add it to the content of the memory or data member called exam, and the results that will be gotten or the total will be assigned in the total member. And that's how that will be done. The next is we have static method with static attributes. So this static method is result one. It is of type void, but it is static. So we have some members there who are total and the cat of type integer, and we are assigning Agnes Jogona into the variable on data member called name, which is of type string as declaration type. Then we assign, without the compiler or the processor to assign store value 43 in the data member called cat. We are also assigning value 75 in the memory on data member called exam, whose content is not supposed to change because of the one final. And then we pick what is in the cat, we add what is in the exam, and we assign the totals into the data member called total, who is local to the results one method. Then we display the text as follows. We pick, or the processor will pick what is in the memory location called the name, displayed on the screen, followed by the text. As is called, it will pick what is in the memory location called cat and display, followed by the text in cat end. It will pick what is in the memory location called exam, displayed here, followed by the text in exam. So if in the name you have Agnes Joanna, in the cat you have 43, and in exam you have 75, then this statement will be displayed as follows. James Joanna, or Agnes Joanna, has scored 43 in cat and 75 in exam. The next statement is also being displayed on the screen, which is telling the processor to display the following content on the screen. Therefore, the total score for whoever is in the memory location called the name. So if in name you have Agnes Joanna, the text will be displayed as, therefore, the total score for Agnes Joanna is, the processor will pick what is the memory location called the total, state at this point. So if in total, what you have is 118, then this statement will read as follows. Therefore, the total score for Agnes Joanna is 118. And that will be all with the definition for that method or result one. We have another method. This is the main method. This is the main method. And the main method is of type public static void, and the name is main. So this is the one which will control the program. Here, we have public method and attributes. So we are, at this point, we are declaring an object of the static class called public method. And the name of that object is results object, results object. So this statement is declaring object for class, and this class is public method class, not the performance. This is also an error. So let's rectify this error. This statement, this bit, is not declaring object for class, but it is declaring object for class called public method. The class called public method. My dear students and the rest of the learners, you may ask, how am I being able to tell that that is for the class called public method and not any other? It is simply because if you have this statement as follows, you have static public method followed by the name of an object and then new. This new is supposed to be succeeded by the name of that class. So the name of the class is public method, and therefore this new, this what new is simply telling the processor that we want to declare an object called the source object to be used to handle or manipulate the content of the class called public method, which is static. So static public method. Note, It is public static method. So this is declaring object for the class called static public method. Static, static public method. Next, once we do that, the next is to invoke details entry method from the class. So this statement is invoking the method called results from the class called static public method. And then this statement is displaying the text on the screen, which are results through the public method called results. So what will follow here are the results. So this statement will be displayed, or this line will be drawn on the screen, followed by the text, system.out print line. So what will be next here is the content of the variable called name. That is results.object.name. So the name or the content that is, or the value that is stored in the data member called name will be displayed, followed by the text as scored. It will pick what is the data member called cat and display at that point, followed by the text in cat, and it will pick the content of the data member called the exam, displayed on the screen, followed by the text in exam. Next, the statement or the ones which will be displayed are therefore the total score 4. It will pick the name, the content in the data member called name. It will pick whoever is there and display on the screen at that point, followed by the text is, then followed by the content of or the value in the data member called total. And once that is done, my dear students and the rest of the learners, the next bit is results from static method called results being displayed. That is result 1. So the ones that will be displayed on the screen are results from the static method called result 1 are as follows. This line will be drawn on the screen, followed by, or the next statement is invoking class method without use of class object. Now, if you look here, in this statement, my dear students and the rest of the learners, you can see I am not preceding the method called results1 with the name of any object. It is directly, we are accessing this method directly. Why? Because results1 in our declaration or in our definition, just as you saw, we have declared it as static. I want to go there so that you can see. If you look here, you can see that results1, this method here has been preceded with the one reserved one static. So once it is static, it is accessible, directly accessible from wherever in your program, but of course within the scope of the class. So that's why you have seen we have defined an object called resource object for the static public class or public method, because that class is public. But for the static one, we are accessing the method directly without having to pass through an object for the class. And with that, we come to the end of that program. So let's see how we can code, or let's see how this program will behave when we code it in Eclipse IDE. So what I'll do, I'll simply copy my program. I'll just copy this program as it is, and then I'll paste it in my Eclipse IDE. Remember, you can code this program for Java using any other IDE. What is important for you to note or to be careful in is the name of the class and the name of the project or the name of the package. So what we are going to do is we are going to launch our Eclipse IDE and then proceed with creating the project and creating the file. So let's launch our IDE, that is Eclipse. So type Eclipse, here it is. Once our IDE is ready, we are going to create our project and also give our program the package name. So what is going to be the name of our project? The procedure is first click on File menu, point on New, and then click on Java Project. So the next thing we need to do is to give our project a name. So what name are we going to give to our project? So what name are we going to give to our project? So let's click on File menu, point on New, and then click on Java Project. So the name we are going to give to our project name is static public method. Static public method. And then we click on the finish. From there, we are going to create our class. So I'll click on the class here, and then you can see the name of the package is static public method. I will call my class. I will give it almost the same name. I will call it static public method. Static public method. And then, of course, include the public static void main string and click on finish. The most important thing for you to note is that my name is being with uppercase, but the name of the package is lowercase. So I'll click on finish. So you can see we have the name of the package being static public method, and the name of our class is static public method. But what should come out very clearly is that this name is being with capital letter, uppercase, but the name of the package is beginning with lower case. So you can type your text. You can insert the rest of the text in between here, including erasing what you don't want, or you can simply write the entire program here. So let me just paste the program I've been working with, the one we have discussed here. Now, we need to make some changes here, my dear students and the rest of the learners. You can see the name I have given to my project. The name I've given to my project, if you look carefully, this name is static public method. But the code I have here is static public method. You can see there's a difference, and the difference is in the case. If you check carefully, you can see that method here is in lowercase. This is M small, but this is M in the capital. So what we have to do is I have to modify base B so that the name matches the name of my project. So what I'll do is I'll just type here. So it will be static public method. So I'll replace the lowercase m. I'll replace the lowercase m with capital M. So it is public, static, public method. And a semicolon. So so that's our package name. You can see our package name now does not have any error. The next thing we need to do is to correct the name of the class. You can see the name of our file is started with uppercase. The name of our class is begin with uppercase. Static public method. But when you look at this name, you see they are not matching. So I have to change this letter to uppercase S. So static public method. Also this M, letter M is in uppercase. That way, you can see that the red lines have now disappeared. You can see the red lines have now disappeared, meaning that the name of our package is now okay. You can see this name is now matching with the name of our project, as you can see here, static public method. And the name of the class is also matching with the name of the file, static public method.java. So with that, we can save our program by clicking on File, then Save, and we can now run our program. So we click on Run. My dear students, it's important to be very cautious to ensure that the various bits are also matching. Look here, we have errors in our program. We have errors here. And one of the errors is in the main method. That is, in the main here. Where is the error? After we have modified the name of the class, you need to ensure that that name is consistent across. So you can see this name here is not the same as the name we have for the class. That name and this name are different. So we have to ensure we make this correction here. So static public method S is uppercase. Then M is uppercase. We have to do the same across. So S is in uppercase, M is in uppercase. So you can see our program now does not have any errors there. But also you can see this one is declaring object for class performance. We have already corrected this. So it's not supposed to be class performance, but it's supposed to be class public static method. It's supposed to be public static method. So I can replace this part with the right one. Remember, what I'm doing is simply debugging. And always ensure that your program is well indented. So let me save my changes. And then we run our program again. So we click on run. And then, my dear students and the rest of the learners, as you can see, our program is now okay. There are no errors. It has executed. You are being asked, what is the name for this student? Let me type Julius M. Then you press enter. What marked in Julius Meme score in caps? You can see the logic is the same logic I've already explained. So what did Julius score in caps? Maybe 23. You press enter. What marked in Julius score in the exam? Maybe 76. Press enter. Now, my dear students and the rest of the learners, I want you to look at the output here. You can see we have output. After we have entered the data, the next part is we are having this heading, results through the public method called results. Where are we? This is where we are. This is the part which is being displayed. Results through the public method called results. It has drawn this line. Then next, we have this name. We have this statement there. Julius Meme has scored 23 in CAT and 76 in exam. So this statement here is this statement on our output screen. And then the next statement there is therefore the total score for Julius Meme is, so this statement here. Therefore, the total score for Julius Meme is 99. Once that is done, you can see we have another heading here, results from the static method called results 1. That is this line, followed by this line, and then we have now new data. Julius Meme has been replaced by Agnes Njogona. So Agnes Njogona, as it's called, you can see we have 43 and 75. Therefore, the total score for Agnes Njogona is 180. So my dear students and the rest of the learners, you can see the output from our program is exactly as I have explained in the presentation. Therefore, with that, you can close or end the task and exit from our coding. And once we have done that, we have come to the end of part 34 of the series. You can now proceed, watch, listen, and practice on part 35 of 41, in which we are going to look or learn about what we call the Java constructors. And with that, my dear students and the rest of the learners, I want to congratulate you for learning part 34 of 41 on Java class methods in fundamentals of object-oriented programming using Java. You can access the rest of the past in the series, as well as other computer or ICT videos by clicking or tapping on MLSwap ICT YouTube channel below this video. To subscribe to the channel, tap on subscribe button below this video in YouTube if it's not currently reading as subscribed. For any further correspondence, kindly write it to us through the email emilyswap@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening to me. Let's meet in the next part of the series, which is part 35. And God bless.